What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And real quick, I'm just going to talk about Ahsoka real fast. Episode 5 just dropped. And this is not an official review. I will have a review coming out in regards to episode 5. And a lot of you guys are probably saying, what happened to the episode 4 review? Yeah, I actually started editing that thing. I had like a 26 minute video that I had put together. And then somehow, some way, that thing just blew up in my face and completely lost the video. And I did not feel like re-recording another 25 minutes. I was very upset at that point. So I will get back to it. What I'll do is I'll combine my episode 4 and episode 5 review together. All right. And then I'll put that out, try to get that done before the weekend hits. But let me just kind of drop some initial thoughts about the show as a whole, not just necessarily this episode. I'm going to avoid talking about this episode. I just want to talk about this show as a whole. And here's how I feel about it. Ahsoka is really a show that's for the fans of Rebels. It's really Rebels season 5. Just like Filoni has been saying, it's Rebels season 5. Has a ton of member berries, all right? Has a whole lot of fan service for the folks that love Rebels. So if you're a fan of Rebels, you are absolutely loving this. And if you just thought that Rebels was okay, it's decent enough, like me, all right? Yeah, it's all right. All right. It's a-ight. It's an a-ight show. I mean, that's really what it is. And here's the thing about it. It's not doing any justice to the character of Ahsoka, in my opinion. One of the biggest issues that I have is the characterization and how they've just been laying this character out in this particular series. One of the problems you have is I don't find the character of Ahsoka interesting in the least. I don't find this character, the Rosario Dawson Ahsoka, interesting in the least. Not like I found her in the Clone Wars. Clone Wars, she's phenomenal, you know? And then with Rebels, she's a little bit more subdued, and she's that same kind of character here. And I get it, maybe Filoni is setting something up, but the way she's been written is she's absolutely dull, okay? The villains are way more interesting than her, all right? I think Hera, honestly, is a little bit more interesting than the title character. All the heroes, honestly, are just kind of boring. You know, that's just really the problem. And here's the reason. Because with a character like Ahsoka, or with any Star Wars character, when you're the lead character, characters need two things in order for us to get invested with them as characters. In order for us to get invested, you need two things. You need an external desire, right? And an internal need. That's what you need. You need two things. Let me break this down. External desire. That's all about what we need in the moment, okay? What is this character looking for in this particular moment? What is the goal that they are chasing after, that they are going after, that they are fighting against the antagonist of the story trying to accomplish, right? You know, you're either blowing up the Death Star, you're finding the lost Ark of the Covenant, or you're trying to save the girl from the, Snidely Whiplash character, whatever. That's the external desire, the want of the hero. Now, what's the internal need? The need is, what does this character need in order to grow? All right. It's all about character growth. That's why I said earlier, and people I don't think understood it, but I said this earlier in Ahsoka, like, where's the growth of this character going to come from? What does this character need to grow? What is Ahsoka, or what any character for that matter, the hero of your story, what do they need to become a better person? That character arc where they start to, go in the arc, they're trying to accomplish something on the external, but internally they need to do something in order to help that external desire happen, And so what is that? Like, let's take Luke Skywalker, for example. Luke Skywalker had an external desire. What was that? I got to get off this rock. I want to become a pilot. I want to hang out with Biggs and, fly and join the rebellion. All right. He had a very strong motivation to get out off this rock. His desire was to go out and join the rebellion. But what was his internal need? What was all related to his family, his father, right? He didn't know who his father was. You remember in A New Hope when Obi-Wan was just kind of laying out the history of Anakin and he's telling them everything. It's like, Luke's like, oh man, you fought in the Clone Wars? Say, oh yeah, man, I was a Jedi Knight, same as your father. As a matter of fact, here's his lightsaber. Go ahead and check it out. Turn it on, play around with it, And Luke's out there swinging the lightsaber around and he's like, man, this is kind of interesting. He's getting like history about his father that he never knew before. And then he asks, hey man, how did my father die? And then Obi-Wan says, oh yeah, Darth Vader killed him. And, he turned to the dark side of the Force, et cetera, et cetera. We remember that story. Now, what was happening there? We're getting backstory about what Luke's internal need is, but we don't really feel it yet. We don't really feel the need quite yet. We just hear the story. But then what happens a little bit later is he goes back to his aunt and his uncle's house, and he sees the skeletons in the burnt up house, and it's dead. And at that moment, he says, I got to become a Jedi like my father before me. He feels the impact of the dark side, of the empire, of everything. He sees it. The internal need to become a Jedi like his father before him suddenly becomes the main driving force of his life. Okay? And we see that play out over the next, 3 films, or the next 2 films, that film, the rest of that film, and then obviously the next 2 films. Because now we see, oh, we're interested in this story. This story is interesting. Oh, shoot. The guy, Darth Vader, that killed Luke's father. Now, at the time, we didn't know, obviously. But it was clear that they were setting that up as a showdown. And then Darth Vader kills his mentor, Obi-Wan. So this is how you play things out when you're writing a character. Luke sees it. He visualizes it. No! And he starts shooting and, all of that kind of stuff. We feel his pain, his emotion. We see it, okay? The internal need becomes impressed upon him. And it's impressed upon us as the audience as we went through it and experienced it throughout that long lead up. That's what I was saying is missing in this story. None of that is here. First of all, you do have an external desire. I won't take that away, all right? Because clearly, Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn. She's looking for Thrawn to find Ezra. That's pretty much a straightforward external desire. They start mentioning stuff about, oh, well, she's trying to stop a war. Thrawn is a threat, la, la, la. Okay, but really it was about finding Thrawn to find Ezra, and then she had Morgan Elsbeth. We saw that back in Mando season 2. Morgan Elsbeth has some sort of a connection with Thrawn, blah, 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 okay? We get that. That's her external desire. But what I said is there's no character growth going on here because you can't get character growth from external desire. It takes the internal need. What is it that Ahsoka needs? What is the character growth that we're looking for here? Is it to train Sabine or become a better master to Sabine? Is that what we're talking about? Okay. Let's think about that for a moment. We do know that there was a falling out between Ahsoka and Sabine. Got it, okay? Because they've been talking about it. Hera was talking about it. Everybody was saying, well, Sabine was difficult and she lacked patience. And then they had some sort of a falling out. But we don't see any of that, all right? That's the whole thing about show, not tell, all right? Show us the falling out. Do a flashback. Show what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine. Don't just have them staring at each other and Ahsoka's crossing her arms and Sabine's like, she don't like me no more. That's boring, all right? If we don't see any of it, how are we supposed to know whose fault it is? How are we supposed to see it happening to them, right? And so because we don't see it, we don't see the need for the growth. It's like I said with Luke. Luke, we actually see, okay, this is why you need to grow. Your character, you need to become a Jedi because you got forces that you got to go up against that are bigger and stronger than you. You can't just get it done as a little bush pilot. The best bush pilot in the galaxy or the outer rim. That ain't going to work. You got to be a Jedi, buddy. You got to be able to beat Vader. But because we don't see Ahsoka and Sabine's struggles, we don't experience it for ourselves. You could be told a story, but it's a difference between being told a story and you actually looking at the action yourself and looking at it and experiencing it for yourself. There's a difference between somebody telling you there was a car accident and you actually seeing the car accident, okay? Seeing it is the show. Oh, we saw the car accident. We saw the 2 cars collide. We heard the impact of the sound. We saw all the people scrambling and running around. You can be told a great story and people can tell good stories, but it's never going to replace the actual experience of going through that story. And that's not what we have here. All right. We have us, Hera and other people telling us about the struggles of Ahsoka's inner turmoil. What is the inner need? What is the evidence that she actually needs to grow? If you saw Ahsoka sock Sabine in the jaw or something like that, oh shit, yeah, we saw that. Okay, that's why they broke up. Now, I'm not saying that, Ahsoka and Sabine would do that, but you got to see this type of stuff, and that's not what this show is doing. This show is struggling in that category. And even with episode 5, and everybody's going to say, well, episode 5 showed some stuff. It did show some stuff, all right? Maybe her internal need is indeed to overcome the trauma that happened because of her past, because of Anakin, because, of other things, maybe that's the internal need. Maybe that's what she's supposed to be struggling with and she needs to overcome. I won't take that away from this story. However, the length of time it took them to get to that point is a big problem, okay? It's a big problem. Again, that's what makes this show very mid. It's a mid-tier Star Wars show. Better than the Book of Boba Fett? Clearly, okay? It's better than Obi-Wan? Clearly, okay? This is better than both of those shows. It's better than Mando Season 3. It's actually better than Mando Season 3. It's not better than Mando Season 1 or Season 2. Actually, I'll take that back. It's like kind of on par, at least right now, where Mando Season 2 was at about this same time. I did not like Mando Season 2 at all. I thought Mando Season 2 was very overrated until you got to the last 3 episodes. Last 3 episodes are phenomenal. Those episodes are great. But the first 5, it was like your princess is in another castle. I was telling T that all the time. It's like, the person you're looking for, they're on another planet. Go to this other planet. And then they get to that planet. Oh, I'm sorry, the person you're looking for is on another planet. And it was that for like 5 episodes until we finally got to episode 6 with the Boba Fett one. All right, now we getting somewhere. That was interesting, all right? But yeah, before that, and we're about on episode 5 right now, I'm kind of feeling the same way. It's just all-right, it's just all-right. And it's not better than Andor. Clearly not better than Andor. Andor is the creme de la creme of Star Wars television content. But yeah, that's where we are. Like I said, it's Rebels Season 5. It literally is Rebels Season 5. And unless you're this giant fan of Rebels, you're just like, okay with this. This is okay. If you're a giant fan of Rebels and you love Rebels, you're going to love this show because it's the exact same type of storytelling that's in Rebels. Where there's a lot of stuff that happens, but a lot of it doesn't feel consequential, all right? And we got some interesting characters, but not really. And then you get to like a character like Ahsoka, and Ahsoka acts exactly the same way she does. Now, in this episode, I will say, I guess without being a spoiler, the character picks up a little bit in terms of her mannerisms, all right? And yeah, maybe it's because we're finally getting to what her internal need is, and that's important. But other than that, like, the show is just kind of a drag, It's like it's 3 episodes just stretched out into 5. That's what this thing is. They are stretching this thing out. Maybe not even 3 episodes. Maybe like 2 episodes or 2.5. There's just not enough that's been done to justify all of these episodes. Like 5 episodes in, I want to feel invested. House of the Dragon type stuff makes me feel like that. Andor made me feel like that. Like, I'm invested in every single character. I can't wait to see what happens to this person this week, next week, the week after. Okay, I wonder how all of this is going to wrap up and how all of this is going to end. Like, I don't have a feeling about that. I know eventually they'll run into Thrawn. Can we hurry up and get there? Because the stuff you're doing now is just not that interesting, But anyway, like I said, I'm going to have a full review for 4 and 5 sometime before this weekend. And, that's that. But I just wanted to drop some quick thoughts about what I think is the major issue with this show, which is the character of Ahsoka. She's just not working out, in my opinion. But you guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.